Have you wondered how the future Avatar: The Last Airbender series could be a further exploration into the lore? And why should they be? Also, did you hear the announcement that they'll be looking to expand their future in print media? Well, we've got everything you need to know about it coming right up, so stick with us, and let's get right into it. First off, how has Avatar been revived? Recent years have seen a well-earned revival of Avatar: The Last Airbender, especially since its release on Netflix in 2020. Avatar: The Last Airbender is a masterclass in storytelling in terms of characterization, plot, world building, and so much more, and not just in the original animated series. Other media formats in which the expansive Avatar story continues to shine include the comic books, The Legend of Korra, and the novels by Kyoshi and Yang Chen. However, following its rebirth and strong performance on Netflix, a new live-action version of the original series will soon be available. There are also upcoming animated films and a video game. Fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender may safely declare that this is an exciting time to be a fan. The Avatar: The Last Airbender series is one of the best television franchises, even among children's programming. One of the best television trios is Aang, and the group is involved in many more adventures than have been aired. But it is disheartening that upcoming Avatar content will once again focus on Aang, Katara, Sokka, etc., rather than exploring all the fascinating side storylines in the franchise. Of course, they are well-developed characters with sizable fan bases, which are itching for more fascinating tales, so this isn't always a negative thing. But the fact that the Avatar: The Last Airbender universe mimics the Skywalker saga in Star Wars in every way is rather restricting. Up next, why don't they go in-depth enough? Despite the depth of the characters, world building, and narrative in both franchises, they have stayed within the lines so far. Even though the lore of Avatar: The Last Airbender has grown, it has remained connected to or based on the original series and its characters, with Korra being mentored by Tenzin, Aang's offspring. The Legend of Korra took the safest approach. The show even went so far as to include Aang in several cameo appearances. Even though Korra created the series, it never really feels like just hers. Along with Katara making a handful of her cameos, Aang always seems present. Everything after the first series has always had one foot in it. Even the comic books primarily focus on the original cast's journeys during and after Avatar: The Last Airbender. There are numerous secondary storylines and characters that are easily adaptable to their own book or series. One suggestion would be to check out the library, not simply the library or the owl Wan Shi Tong, but even just looking around the library's immense collection of information and history. A series like this would act as an anthology of the narrative world and the significant occasions that had molded it into what it is now. A more thorough historical examination of the nations would be excellent and even crucial for understanding Avatar's overall history. Fans may even want to see a miniseries with a plot similar to that of Avatar: The Last Airbender, with each season concentrating on the nations of air, earth, fire, and water. Keep watching along closely. We're about to fill you in on everything you need to know about how fans reacted over the news of the series expanding its future in print media and more. So make sure you don't go anywhere so you don't miss out. Let's get right back into it. Coming up, how could there be further explorations into the lore? But those are merely suggestions for historical analysis of the Avatar: The Last Airbender series. The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra have fantastic side storylines and characters. It would be awesome to see Zuko have his program. He is a member of the original series, which contradicts some earlier complaints. However, he has a far too intriguing personality and a historically significant family to be ignored. He is also without a doubt the most interesting character from the first season. It would be interesting to watch, read, or hear Zuko's series. Much like the Blue Spirit, it may take a few different directions, like delving deeper into the folklore hinted at in the first episodes where it appears. Another concept is to have the play take place during his many times alone as he confronts his own inner demons and drives. The darkest theme in the Avatar franchise may be one of the greatest ones for additional content. Some waterbenders have the power to bend blood in that way. One of the most intriguing developments from the idea of bending is, without a doubt, blood bending. It effortlessly carried the story the few times it was highlighted. However, additional sub-bendings would be interesting to further study in different media. Besides blood bending, other sub-bending ideas have not been utilized to the fullest extent, and that should be the subject of separate stories. It's open for argument how that story is conveyed, but it's still an intriguing notion in the long line of incredible ideas that have emerged from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Up next, how did fans react to the news that Avatar would expand its future in print media? Fans were immensely giddy for any new Avatar-related content in a jam-packed session at New York City Comic-Con. When asked how many had read the Avatar: The Last Airbender Kyoshi novels published by Abrams Books, few people raised their hands. The same scraggly bunch played Avatar Legends, a role-playing game created by Magpie Games, but not yet released. More than two-thirds of the crowd nearly sprang out of their seats when it was revealed how many had read the Atlas storyline's continuation in Dark Horse Comics. Publishers of the most recent Atlas content seem to understand, at least in part, that the original Avatar premiered more than 17 years ago. Even while there are plans for additional Avatar content in the future, and a new live-action series is now in development for the time being, fans who are eager for new stories must turn to print media. The story of the universe will be continued in other volumes, concentrating on the historical Masters of the Four Elements millennia before the events of Avatar: The Legend of Korra. Even the most devoted fans will be pleased with the books like F.C. Yee's The Rise of Kyoshi and his upcoming Yang Chen-centered novel Dawn of Yang Chen, even though the program's focus had been on young people seeking to alter an unjust society. Another choice is The Legend of Korra: Patterns in Time, a graphic novel that was published on November 29 and has a few short stories that come after the turf wars and ruins in Empire. The next Azula in the Spirit Temple is planned to potentially rehabilitate one of the key antagonists of Atla, as was first revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. Faith Erin Hicks is the comic's author, while Peter Wortman is its artist. Up next, what else can we expect to see from the Avatar universe? After all, of course, there is also the RPG created by Magpie Games, which this year raised more money on Kickstarter than any other tabletop RPG. By January 25th, the game ought to be offered at full retail price. Pre-orders for the Kickstarter version, which is scheduled to ship in November, have already begun. Brendan Conway, a co-owner of Magpie Games, also said that the company is creating a starter kit for the role-playing game with the same streamlined rules and player aids, and an official web toolkit by the end of the week with extra information. All of these companies have continued the Avatar tales. However, the overall number of releases seems low, given how long ago the first episode of the show appeared. Even if there aren't many stories, every narrative gets vetted, and we're looking more for content added at Avatar Studios, which is headed by the show's creators, Brian Konietzko and Michael Dante DiMartino, according to Kara O'Neill, head of marketing at Dark Horse. Otherwise, more Avatar content should be in the works. The next comics are just a part of it. When asked if the print stories of the Avatar verse would be the bull's horns for stretching the timeline, both backwards and forwards, O'Neill replied, "That's been the case so far in Growing the Globe. I'm unable to comment on what they're doing with the program or Avatar Studios, but it's safe to say that our comics and books will continue to stray from that storyline." Creators Konietzko and DiMartino reportedly stated on the Braving the Elements podcast that they have ideas for more projects that would go deeper into Avatar's past and future. Still, nothing else has been made available to the public outside the live-action series. Otherwise, the authors swore to respect the book's rights and denied any plans to adapt any of their published works into television or motion pictures. And there you have it, everything you needed to know about why future Avatar: The Last Airbender series could be further explorations into the lore and how they plan on expanding their future in print media. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know down in the comments section. Also, be sure to like the video and subscribe.